I'm
we
going to
all.
go home and tell
I
my
know.
husband. I want him to make me feel sought after.
I mean, it's true, right?
But not in a Gone Girl way.
Yes.
Welcome to Holiday Film Countdown. I'm Jamie Walter, and today we are going to New York City.
That's right. This film is Holiday Affair, our 43rd ranked holiday film. Hello, I'm Tim Walter. Flighty or stable, two suitors vie for the attention of an intriguing secret shopper. Let's see where this goes.
Our first guest is Carolyn Squires. Hello, Carolyn. Please let us know what you're drinking and give us a quick thought on Holiday Affair.
Ooh, I'm drinking a delicious dirty martini. And I thought Holiday Affair was terrific. I was surprised about the drama that ensued around the holidays.
All right. And our other guest is Lynne Holland. Hey, Lynne, what are you drinking, and what's your initial thought on the film?
I, too, am drinking a dirty martini, and I enjoyed the movie because of the rapid drama of the holiday season.
And I am also drinking a dirty martini. We're keeping it in line with what they were drinking in the movie. And I found it to be very interesting for the time period that it's in.
All right, and I'm drinking the same with the Waterloo No. 9 gin from Treaty Oak in Dripping Springs, Texas. And I'm going to say why this film is where it is on the countdown. Mainly because it's lesser known, and so that drops it a little bit. However, it's very well reviewed, very well rated, and so it has a place here, and I'm glad it's here.
Yeah, Holiday Affair was written by Isabel Leonard and John Weaver, based on the story Christmas Gift by John Weaver. The film was directed by Don Hartman, who wrote and directed over 20 movies.
Holiday Affair was released in 1949. It's the oldest movie in our countdown so far. This film is set in New York, but the interior shots were all filmed at Paramount Studios in Hollywood. Robert Mitchum, Janet Leigh, and Wendell Corey star. Also, Harry Morgan, we know him from MASH, plays the police lieutenant.
So, Carolyn, what's your history with this movie? Have you seen it before, or?
I've not ever seen it before, but I would watch it again.
No history, huh?
No history.
All right.
All right, and you, Lynne, what's your history of?
Yes, I actually have seen this movie a couple times. I do enjoy watching older movies on, basically Sunday morning or Saturday afternoon. But this, to sit and watch it from beginning to end, added a new perspective to it, because I feel that the first part, I hadn't really appreciated her job in the shopper position and the interaction she had with Robert Mitchum initially with Steve. So it added a new light to it.
All right, well, I was surprised and glad to hear that you had seen this before. That was wonderful.
Good.
And I really have no history to this film prior to us just watching it to be on the podcast. So it was a new one for me.
Same here. It just kept coming up on the lists that I'd see. And we need a sprinkling of older films in here. This is a countdown for everyone. And so I'm glad we saw it. It does remind me a little bit of Miracle on 34th Street because it's got a lot of department store action. So that kind of brought me to that film and the black and white nature of it.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the trailer.
Christmas is wonderful, honey. You can't expect miracles.
Her holiday was nothing special
Marry me and I'll buy you a dishwasher.
until he
Maybe I should have come down the chimney.
walked into her life.
If you wish real hard for something, maybe you might get it.
Janet Leigh,
I'm marrying Carl. New Year's Day.
Robert Mitchum,
When a man's in love with a girl, he's got a right to ask her to marry him.
in the timeless classic Holiday Affair.
All right, well, what did y'all think of the trailer?
Well, first I realized that it was like a play on words, Holiday Affair. I hadn't picked up on that before.
Yep.
And I kind of felt like if you watched the trailer, you watched kind of the whole movie.
I totally agree. I was thinking the same thing. And honestly, the trailer was more exciting than the movie. I mean, it was more lively and there was more comic relief in the trailer as opposed to the movie where it's obviously those scenes are still there, but they're drawn out. And so you don't get that punch.
Yeah, it was Punch.
Right.
Yeah. But I still enjoyed the movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie, but the trailer really makes it more exciting.
I mean, I agree with you, Carolyn. I felt like once I saw like the trailer and I looked back at it, I was like, now I get it. Holiday affair. Like it hit me. All right, it was kind of a play on words, right, of what was going on with the film. I didn't catch on to that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the old school voiceover.
And speaking of the title,
That's some hype.
I thought it was called Holiday Express because I thought we're tied to the train. And so affair, I was like, wait, that's right. So anyway.
Yeah. And
Lynn, welcome. We've been watching Holiday Affair.
Yes, no. I've been here. I think Holiday Express would have been a better title. That's all.
because a lot was revolved around the train for sure.
Yeah.
That's
Definitely.
exactly right.
I definitely see where you're coming from with that one.
And it was a fast romance.
Very express.
Yeah, I thought the trailer predicted it well. I mean, like, it let me know that, okay, it's two guys competing for one woman. But I honestly didn't feel like it was, I don't know if it was from the time or if it's just the way, if it was intended to be that way. But I felt like it was shorter than, like, trailers nowadays.
Oh, that's funny. I felt like it was longer.
Really? Did
Yeah.
you? I didn't feel that way.
That,
I thought it was
isn't that
shorter.
interesting? And it felt like
Right.
it had like so much information that it really did kind of cover the whole movie.
Right.
Right.
As opposed to just, hey, we're going to pique your interest.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree. I have to agree. Yeah, Carolyn, because I will say one thing my parents have always said is sometimes when you watch a trailer, you've seen the whole movie.
movie.
And here we are. That was a great example, I felt. But
Interesting.
They're all different.
All right, I guess I'm the odd duck out.
I think back in those times, it was, well, we still do this. Flash the stars' faces. That's going to draw you in.
Yeah, star power. It's good.
Robert Mitchum was the star power. We'll get into that. Upon release, Holiday Affair recorded a net loss of $300,000.
Bummer.
I don't know what it made at the box office. I don't know what it cost to make, but the net amount was a loss.
Wow. And you think in 1949 what $300,000 would mean?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
what
got
that
here.
means.
Yeah.
Right.
We've got $4 million in
Wow.
current times. So this film airs regularly on TCM, which is where Lynn had seen it.
yes.
And we're hoping that over these years, maybe those royalties are starting to maybe bring it into the black. You know, maybe we're showing a little profit on that film.
Who's going to be receiving them, though? Aren't all those people gone? Well, hopefully they have.
I have been paying my subscription, so some revenue is going somewhere.
The studio. The studio.
Oh, not the children or grandchildren?
Well, they took the hit on the initial, so now
Oh,
they're maybe
gotcha,
getting some of
yeah.
it back. Holiday Affair has a score of 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd. That is the highest so far in our countdown, and we'll all be giving our own reviews later with the score.
All right, let's talk about what we saw Christmas. Like it was Christmas definitely going on, but I didn't see a lot of the Christmas things that you typically see in a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
So we saw a Christmas tree because the boy and Carl went and picked out the Christmas tree. But what about the other decorations? Did y'all notice a lot of Christmas decorations in
No,
this
the
film?
Christmas presents.
Just the lights. 'Cause
It was
There's a
snowing.
reference of the lights, but
Right.
there was snow, and then if you can get to, but the shopping, the fever of shopping for Christmas gifts, that was clear.
Definitely.
But other than that, there was not the traditional elves or they did have stockings. They had stockings on the
that's right.
mantle.
That's true.
Christmas cards were there as well.
But the Christmas meal that
They-
they were serving,
They were serving. Yeah, she brought the turkey. The mother-in-law. Yeah.
but there wasn't
Mother.
a whole lot of
Mother brought. Yeah.
But it wasn't that.
mother.
But
her
was-
father.
I'm
But
sorry,
that
what-
was the no. Well, they just were referring to her as mother.
Oh,
but she
I see.
was
Yeah, but she was the
The mother-in-law.
The mother-in-law.
right,
Right.
which
Right.
made me wonder where was her mom and dad and family.
Exactly. That was so curious. And I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, but no Santa, no snowman, no reindeer. I mean,
It was a simpler time.
it really, it really portrays the simpler time
right.
for sure.
But
It
there
was-
could have been some carolers.
Yeah.
there could have been, but there
there
were
were
not.
Well, here's, I mean, I don't know if I'm breaking whatever, but when the owner of the store had Timmy on his knee, I think that was a reference to Santa Claus. When he had his moment
Gotcha.
and was trying to, spoiler alert, Return of the Train, he literally pulled him up as Santa would on a chair to talk.
Oh, very
about
good, Lynn.
yeah.
So
Like,
he
what do
was
you- what do you want-
representing Santa.
represented Santa, and he asked him tell me what's going on, and that's what Santa does. He asks you, what do you want for Christmas?
And do you think he dresses up as Santa in his own store sometime?
Maybe he could. He might. Was it Gimbel's or Macy's? I'm just kidding.
It was a very successful store there.
Right,
It was
right.
always packed.
Right.
They'd
So
have to
he's
wake
doing
him
something
up from
right.
his nap, though, to get him to dress up.
That guy was on it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the characters and actors. So we have Steve Mason, played by Robert Mitchum. Robert Mitchum was known at this time for traditional crime / noir, war, westerns, and he was nominated for Best Actor in 1945 for G.I. Joe. In this film, he's actually trying to play a new role, somewhat of a romantic, comedic character, and I saw that he was trying to rehab his image because he had been caught with marijuana. So he was trying to be wholesome. 1949, remember? And then Janet Leigh plays Connie Ennis. She's also known for the 1949 version of Little Women. And spoiler alert, but Little Women is a holiday film, and there are like 5 versions, and we might see that one later. So be watching for it. She was later nominated for Best Supporting Actress in Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 film Psycho. And she was married to Tony Curtis, and their daughter is Jamie Lee Curtis, who we all know. And she was in our number 47 film, Christmas with the Cranks. We have a couple more characters. Not a lot of characters in this film, but we have a couple more. Carl Davis was played by Wendell Corey. He was an appliance salesman, then a stage and screen actor, then a film executive. And then I think what he was lacking in this film was the eyebrows, by the way. So it would have given him a little bit more of an edge in this competition. I just picked up on that. And then we have Timmy Ennis. Also, they called him Tim. They called him Timothy. I noticed that. He was played by Gordon Gebert, and he had about a 10-year career in film and television, including an appearance on Gunsmoke. And then finally, we have Harry Morgan, who played the lieutenant, and he was known later for Dragnet, the 60s crime drama, and for MASH, the 70s and early 80s hit show. It was a sitcom about Vietnam. Let's talk about these characters and who you liked, who hit it, who stepped up and shined out of nowhere, and what are your comments?
I had a crush on Steve Mason.
Why?
Well, I liked his personality a lot. You know, he was direct but funny, and he had a little sparkle in his eye, and contrast to Carl Davis. Carl, bless his heart, I found him very kind of dry and boring.
So basically just like Connie.
Connie.
You
No,
feel the
no,
same way
I-
Connie did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
feel
Oh, sorry. I wasn't connecting the dots. Yes, I felt just like Connie. I understood Connie.
you could get it.
Yes, I could totally get it. I could totally get it. And, Carl was the nice guy that had great intentions and loved her, but I think, life would have been pretty expected with him.
Safe.
Safe.
Safe as she
is
called it. She
Yeah.
called it to be safe.
Yeah, you could expect every night to be as boring as the night before and the night after.
Wow.
How about you, Lynn? All right, Lynn,
Okay.
let's go.
Yeah, I hear you and I agree with you. I will say that one thing because Carl was loyal. I mean, I'm not saying he's my pick.
Yeah.
But he was loyal, and he seemed to be, I'm going to give you this. We're going to do this. What's, happen. And this Steve, out of nowhere, without a job, and wants to, do boats. It's like that song, Two Princes. It's like, you got one prince who's like, I'm going to take care of you, and the other one who has all these dreams and all that, which, it's attractive. It's not bad, but whatever. But my favorite, I think Timmy was my favorite
he was
character.
great.
Because
He
he
was
was very
adorable.
energetic. He spoke his truth, and he was there for his mom. And I think that was I adored his enthusiasm. I think he did a great job as an actor.
I
But
did, yeah.
I definitely agree. I think as a child, I think he was 8 years old in this role, and he did a really good job of staying in character, and he portrayed the role very well. it's funny. I think it's a little bit of playing it safe and the bad boy, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe Steve was the bad boy and Carl was the play it safe kind of guy. And it's kind of like you're faced with this challenge. Do we go with playing it safe or do we go with the bad boy who... calling him bad boy, but it really wasn't bad boy. But I mean, it was like he didn't have a job, but hey, we're going to go buy an $80 train, which back then would have been a lot of money for a child that I just met because I like his mother. So a little bit of a bad boy, a little bit of a rebel there, But I think that's kind of what Connie was being faced with that time.
Right.
First, thank you, Lynn, for the Spin Doctors reference. It's our first time in this pod.
I'm in 90s.
Same here.
But I found Steve Mason was so optimistic, right? He kept he repeated that line: "If you wish real hard for something, you might get it."
Right. He had a good character, and I liked the way he was a father figure to Timmy. I mean, I think it was really natural for them to click. It was a lot, you have a man you just met go to
Yeah, it
your
was pretty quick.
son's bedroom, but
Right.
that's another story. But the point I'm making is that he had a nice bond with him, and I think that was a beautiful thing. So that was good.
I would normally say she's asking for trouble, but because of the bond with the kid, I agree with you, Lynn, that was probably the clincher, where she was wavering. If there was never going to be a good connection with Carl and the boy, and they had been together for a couple of years, that was probably going to be a running issue.
Right.
And she and her son were so close that it was like, I think he had really good intuition about that too.
Right.
I think sometimes kids can be like animals. Well, in more ways than one, but my point here is the intuition
They know.
about who's a good person, that kind of thing.
A strong sense of just sensing who they are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. One character that caught my eye was the department store manager. Mm-hmm. If you watch the beginning closely, he's always lingering or lurking.
Yes.
And he might be the original micromanager. I'll just throw that out there. Because that guy didn't miss a thing.
No.
Don't you have anything else to do besides watching Steve do his job?
Right.
But he was on it.
And his expressions.
And very communicative without saying a word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those expressions said it all.
Enjoy.
And then he was there at the end, if you remember, when Timmy went back to return the train. Mm-hmm. He was one of the ones he visited with. So.
And he said, "Is your mother here?"
Yeah, now I will move on to a take I picked up on that part. If you remember Home Alone, there's a part where he goes to the store and he's checking out with all these groceries, and the cashier keeps asking him, "Is your mother here? Where's your parent?" That kind of thing. I think John Hughes, the creator of Home Alone, has definitely seen this film. And the other reason I'll say that is there's a scene where Connie and Steve are leaving the department store and they get separated, and it was very reminiscent of Home Alone 2 when they're in the airport.
Yeah.
John Hughes likes Holiday Affair.
That's good. All right, let's move on to the scenes. So, what do you think? What's a funny scene that just hit you?
I don't know that I would necessarily put this under funny, but kind of funny peculiar for me is when the guy said, "Marry me and I'll get you a dishwasher."
Yes.
I was like, wow, 2 for 1.
Hey, that's way better than a vacuum cleaner.
Right? Yeah.
I mean,
I feel like there were a lot of peculiar things.
but maybe it's just because the time that we're in as opposed to when this film was made. But first of all, maybe she would have been head over heels for Carl if he hadn't proposed while they're washing dishes. Like,
Right.
come on, get down on your knee, have a ring, be somewhere out nice. And, what kind of proposal is that? We're washing dishes. And by the way, we should get married.
He's a transactional lawyer.
Oh, there you go. Fair enough.
I mean, he's got to get it
yeah,
done.
yeah, very frank,
This
to
is
the
what
point.
This is what I have to offer.
Okay.
Do you want in or not?
He's
Yeah,
got a
but-
billing rate to take care
Yeah.
of.
Yeah, I get y'all, but hey, we're all for the Cinderella fairy tale. I mean, we're we're not on that billing rate. Come on. we want it all.
How about when he says, "Let's go home, have dinner, and get on the sofa and neck"?
And neck.
Oh, my
no, I love
gosh.
that.
Right. So racy. That was a very racy, and you felt.
Yeah.
You felt yourself blushing.
I don't know blushing. Call 911. Call my
I love it.
like you're so. It's a little too much information.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I like when Carl and Steve first met at the apartment, at Connie's apartment, and I don't even know what she was doing. She had to go do something.
Make
Was it-
drinks. She went to
Oh,
go
she
make
was
drinks.
making drinks.
Yes,
Thank
yeah.
you, Lynn.
Uh-huh.
And they're both standing in front of the fireplace, and they're talking all about the weather. I mean, but they're being so cordial to each other, like,
Yes.
so is it going to be snowing on Christmas? You know, they're just going back and forth about the weather, and I'm like, that would never happen now. It'd be like,
It's very
so
awkward.
what do you think you're doing?
Right, exactly.
You could feel the tension and the awkwardness, but like,
They were so polite about
they
it.
were so polite. I don't think that would happen these days.
Another pioneering piece about this film, they made an early reference to global warming.
Yes, they
That's
did.
right.
That's
Yeah.
right.
1949. Remember, it used to snow more, and now it's raining.
And now it rains.
That's right.
Yes.
Wow.
So, again, funny. I don't know, but I just loved when everyone, I guess it was the two gentlemen, primarily kept saying back and forth to each other, "How do you do? How do you do? How do you do?" And then "Is that so? Is that so?"
Yes. Right.
Those expressions from those days were just so
Yeah.
fun.
Right on and very clear and not profane or vulgar in
Right,
any way. Yeah.
right.
He doesn't have a lot going on upstairs. Like it's like it's very
Yeah,
straightforward.
he doesn't have all the social media in his back of his head or
Right.
in his face.
Yeah.
You know, it's
He's
just
not
They
kind
worried.
weren't
of
taking selfies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not worried about takes or.
no,
He's not in the fields.
no, no.
Looks as though we might have a white Christmas.
That's right. Never seems like Christmas unless it is white.
That's right. Still, we don't seem to get the big snows we used to when we were kids.
That's right. Just comes down slush now.
That's right. Probably got something to do with the atomic bomb.
Hey, that's right.
Last year it rained.
That's right, I remember.
They need rain in California.
Is that so?
I read it in the papers.
I'm from California.
That's so?
Never rains.
Is that so?
I found that with Timmy well, first of all, I found it a little creepy, and maybe I'm the only one, how him and Connie, which is his mother, they called each other by their last names,
Yes,
Mr. and
Mr.
Mrs. Ellis.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a little weird.
That
Like,
was- yeah.
like he's not, like he needed to replace the dad who had passed away during the war. He was killed during the war. I mean, to me, I'm like, okay, what are you trying to make him? They walk in and that's how they greet each other,
Right.
Mr. and
Hello,
Mrs.
Mr. Ennis.
I found
Right.
that a little creepy.
Right. I think one thing I will say about this, like, because when the male father, the father anyway passes away, the boy of the house becomes the man of the house.
Yeah.
And I feel that was where, I mean, totally.
You're right,
I
you're
agree
right.
with the creepiness of it all, but I can also, I guess maybe with a military background, whatever, I feel that was what was expected of him to do.
Yeah.
He is now Mr. Ennis, even though he's 6, 8, whatever years
Right.
old.
Yep.
So I feel that, but yeah, they were really close, and I appreciate them with the bond. I mean, I will share that I'm a divorced mom with 2 boys, and I
Right.
mean not that I'm hugging all my kids and calling them their father's name, but I will say that I feel that they you kind of rise to the occasion. as a boy son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that.
And I felt like it was maybe just a thing between them of familiarity,
Right.
and kind of respect.
Right. A bond. And
Yeah, a
They
bond.
loved each other. I mean,
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
they
it
did.
allowed
thing.
Steve to later say, "You need to move on because let that boy grow up and go his way."
Right.
And so that was a big
He's
part
not
of
taking
his
the replacement of your
big
husband.
profession to her that
Yes.
let's look for something new and be ready to change and,
Right.
and so forth.
And that's.
Which is part of what I think made Steve also so attractive, is that he could pinpoint some of those things.
Right.
Like what you just said, that he identified that she hadn't moved on. And I didn't necessarily get that Carl was so perceptive about all that.
That's true.
Right.
Right.
True. I also felt like when Timmy said, "I'm tired and I had a long day and I think I should just go to bed now." Remember
Yes.
when he was upset that the train wasn't for him?
Yeah.
And he was just upset that, okay, wait, it's not for me. And he really thought it was for him, and he had peeked in the box, so he couldn't say what he was really upset about. I'm like, any mother that heard that would be like, what is wrong with you? I mean, we know that, we're all mothers here sitting here, and we have a
boys.
father here, that kids fight their bedtime, especially
do.
at that age,
Right.
and to have a child say, Mother, don't you think I should go to bed? I've had a long day and I'm tired, so I'm going to go to bed now. I mean, like, I would be like, what is wrong with you?
No. I have a real life story about this.
Okay.
I was working at a store, and a mom and a child, I was going to say he's like 5 or 6. He was holding her hand. He was very upset about something, and she just was sort of like asking what the problem was. And all of a sudden, and I wasn't a mom at this point, I was in my early 20s, and the child goes, I think I just need a nap, Mom.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like,
Wow.
way to own it.
Yeah.
I appreciate the moment, but I really appreciate it after being a mom. And I think there's some kids out there that just know their limits. What they
That's
need.
awesome.
So,
yeah, I'm feeling this.
Yeah, right.
I need this.
I think I just need a nap.
I just think for most kids, it's a fight.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Like they fight
No.
the bedtime. It can be such a struggle in some households, you know.
Yeah.
Or they say they don't need one and then they're asleep.
Right.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
away.
I know, right?
That's the other one.
Sometimes
Get 'em in
I
the-
do that.
Get them in the car seat and boom, they're out in the car.
Oh, and up to that point about kids, one point that they did is they did not allow Timmy's punishment was not having supper.
Yeah.
And so that's, a sign of the times. But then Timmy was quick to say that, my mom's, even when she's mad at me, she'll feed me.
Yeah.
Thought that
She'll
was
come back and do
right.
it later.
She'll
She
take care
feels
of it.
guilty.
Right.
All right. And then another scene I remember was, well, this was another precursor to where we are now. How about Mr. Crowley in his big, huge office meditating? I don't think meditation was that popular back then.
Mr.
It was
Crowley
before
was
yoga.
ahead.
This was pre United States yoga, before the 60s.
I think it was
it
just
was
a
like-
nap. I'm going to spoil
The
alert.
fact that he even knew the word meditation.
Right. I think he just found a word that might match with a nap.
That's so funny. Yeah, he's like, this is my meditation hour. I mean, it wasn't even like I'm meditating for 10 or 15 minutes. It was like, you're not supposed to disturb me during my meditation hour. And I'm like, wow, a whole hour, dedicated to it. But because it was for the little boy, he was okay in the end.
He allowed
right.
the interruption.
Does anyone have any quotable lines they'd like to share?
I just feel good.
I loved that. I loved that.
It was because
too.
he had peeked at the package, which really wasn't for him anyways, but he really thought it was for him, and it was the train. And then he was all giggly and happy, and his mom's like, what's up with you? And he kept saying, I just feel good. I just feel good.
It'd be great if we all noticed more when we just feel good.
And said it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite ones was when Father said to Mother, don't get moody on me. She always gets moody around the holidays. I'm like, wow, what a way to, I don't think I'd like it if my husband said, don't get moody on me.
Right. Because what does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that they call each other mother and father, it's the in-laws, right, to Connie, but they call each other mother and father is just really weird.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
his
you're right.
speech, his toast to her was very sweet at the table.
It was.
What,
It
35
was.
years.
Yes.
That was very nice.
Right.
And I like the quote by Connie when she says, you make me feel very sought after.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like she wanted to be courted.
Sure.
Well, every woman
Don't we-
does.
don't we all?
Don't
I'm
we
going to
all?
go home and tell
I
my
know.
husband I want him to make me feel sought after.
I mean, it's true, right?
But not in a Gone Girl way.
Yeah.
Just seek me, but not, after police are involved.
No police involved. I love it.
And then one other was Steve said to Connie, hope you find something you're looking for or something you're not.
Yes,
That
I
kinda sums it up.
loved that. I did love that.
All right. What about the moral of the story here? Let's. I mean, I kind of said it earlier about the bad boy versus the safe. Obviously, Carl being the safe and Steve being the bad boy, and it having to choose between that. What do y'all see as the moral of the story?
I kind of felt like it was let your heart lead.
Yeah.
Go after whatever your heart tells you, and
Can't
Be
always
open.
play it safe.
yeah,
Yeah.
and be open to miracles and possibilities and
Right.
chances.
Chemistry. I mean, I feel they had a
Chemistry.
little rapport. That's what I was referencing in the beginning, is because I didn't see that first interaction. until tonight. And so, but they always had this, even I think Steve referenced too, that he always had a reason to come back, and there was not going to be another reason to come back. And so that's why he kind of jumped on the opportunity. So, yeah.
I agree. It was Follow Your Heart, and there's no sequel, so we don't know how that ended up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there are questions, because they just jumped on a train to California.
Exactly.
Where's the house?
I didn't see
know.
him pack or
Yeah,
anything.
exactly. She dressed up and she's left the apartment, and the boy, what about schooling?
She took the follow your heart seriously.
Yes, right.
Exactly.
Yes, she did.
Follow your heart train.
And where was her coat? She had no coat. It was New York on New Year's Eve.
Christmas, yeah.
Okay, and I'm sorry, we just can't avoid talking about
The tie.
Oh, the tie.
No, that's
Well, I was thinking about that region of the chest
Yes.
where a tie would be placed should you be male.
Oh, her.
But if you're a female,
her undergarment.
Yes, her
Yes,
undergarments were very,
It was a very reflective of the Madonna.
Pointed. very pointed.
brought those back.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
different kind of bras back then. I
Different
guess.
days, different days.
Is that a B cup? Like for bullet?
It's a laser cup. It's what it was like.
No, I'm saying B for bullet.
Oh, there you go. There you
It
go.
looked like it.
I don't know.
All right. Any hot takes here? Well, there was one right there from Carolyn. Any more hot takes?
Well, I said it out loud before with the Madagascar, the modern movie Madagascar with the animals in the park. I guess I never really appreciated that there were seals and things active in the park in the winter. I have lived in New York City. I did not know there were seals in the park at
You
that
were
time.
not there in
I was not there in 49.
No, you were not. I kind of feel like Timmy was a spoiled brat. I mean, he played the role well, but first of all, he peeked, and then his mother came upstairs, and she's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, nothing. I'm just washing my face." Played it off. And then he was rude to Carl. He didn't want her to get married. He wasn't happy with the news. It seemed like he was a little bit of a spoiled brat.
Yeah. He's pretty spoiled.
That's my hot take.
Perhaps my parenting style is different.
All right. I have one. The lady in the elevator who stepped on the train and broke it.
Oh.
That was intentional. That was a backward step. No one steps backwards when you're getting off an elevator.
This is true.
She twisted her heel into that train.
She did.
She hated kids.
She was the heels. Yeah.
She hated Christmas.
Well, she has something against trains.
She's not drinking martinis.
Exactly. That's what she was lacking.
All right. That brings us to the parent guide. Okay. Well, I feel like this movie is totally appropriate for anyone. All ages would be welcome to watch this and enjoy it. I don't think I would have a problem watching this movie with anyone. It could be with my little child to my grandmother, and I think I would feel pretty comfortable.
Anyone else?
I agree.
Pretty cool with that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree.
very G.
What about that racy light bulb scene?
Ooh.
It was subtle, and I think because we are people of our times, we picked up on it. But I honestly, I think it was just enough that it would blow over on an innocent mind.
Okay.
We picked up on it and laughed at it.
Yes, yeah. We lit up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He said, "See what you do to me."
Yeah. You light me up.
All right, let's go on to the soundtrack. So there's not much of a soundtrack. This is very unusual. One known song, one credited song here, Auld Lang Syne, because it does finish on New Year's. And besides that, it's a bunch of orchestral music that would be behind any film of that era. No songs explicitly Christmas or holiday geared, or no lyrics, really.
Right. Yeah.
They let the dialogue do the talking here. So this is the shortest soundtrack section ever. So far. We haven't done a lot of older ones yet, so we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. No memorable music. Actually, thinking now, I'm like, I don't remember
Music?
any music at all.
Was there music?
Was there music? Yeah.
Again, it goes back to the simpler times, right? Because all the holiday films later on have a lot, and a lot of the Christmas decorations, This didn't have all that much. It's just a simpler time, right? All right. Well, Carolyn, if you had to rate this film from 1 to 5, what would you rate it and why?
And remember, it's a 3.5 on Letterboxd.
Well, okay, this is tricky for me because I was the mom that, the kids would splash in the pool and it would be like, oh, you get the prize for the highest splash. Oh, you get the prize for going the deepest in the water when you jumped in. So I always like everything to get a high rating. And I don't watch a lot of old Christmas movies, so this is the first one that I've seen probably in 20 years. And so I felt kindred towards it. So I'm actually going to give it a 4 because I loved the love story aspect of it and I loved the meaning behind it. I mean, I really do believe that all of us should wish real hard and remember, that we may get what we wish for. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it a 4.
Okay. And you, Lynn, where are you going with this one?
I'm going to go with a 3. I definitely appreciate the Christmas message. I mean, Timmy made that point, like, I'm going to give it my gift. It was the gift of the Magi. Like, I'm going to give it my gift so this other person can live and go to his dream. I appreciate the eagerness of the romance, but it was also so fast. I mean, that's what sort of is incredible. You have to, in this day and age, be a little like if someone, picks you up the day before Christmas and all of a sudden you're racing off on a train that, a week later, be mindful. That's all I can say. Sorry. But yeah, so I mean, it has a great message and when you really appreciate it, I enjoyed it. It was different. I'm going to give it a 3 though. Yes.
All right, fair enough. And I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 because I felt like it kept me curious. I was curious where this was going in the movie. I kept feeling like, where's this going? Is she really going to end up with Steve when she's been with Carl for 2 years? So just based on curiosity, I think alone, like it kept me interested in the film, that I would rate it a 3.5.
Okay. And I can totally see why this one's rated higher than the ones we've done so far. It was well made, well acted, and it moved along. The lulls for a movie of that era, the lulls were minimal. You kept interested. I think having Timmy in there helped keep the pace going. I'm going to go 3.7 just to kind of give it a slight bump from where Letterboxd had it and where our average here has it. And that's where it fits. And if I had to rank it all over again, could have crept up a little more. We'll see where these others go, but very good for number 43 film.
Yeah.
I think
I really did. I felt like it, like you said, it moved right along. Like at no point did I feel like, when's this going to be over?
Right. And sometimes that happens.
It does, right.
So Carolyn, with that being said, would you recommend it? And if so, who would you recommend it to?
I would recommend it to my single friends, and
I don't know if there's any in the room, but that's interesting.
And I would recommend it to couples to just kind of, I think it brings up great conversation about different styles, different types of relationships, and the reasons people are in different kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
And it also, can bring up conversations about raising children. And I think there's a lot of elements that are good.
And you, Lynn? To whom would you recommend it? And why?
To all department stores and the customer service department.
Training
because
film.
It's a good training film on mystery shoppers. And you might fall in love with them. And you're going to destroy their whole relationship with their fiancés. But anyway, no, seriously. I mean, it's a good Christmas film. If you have like a bundle of movies, I would put this in there because it's like a sort of offbeat, even though clearly it's a Christmas message. It's a little not your Santas and your elves and your all the things that you see these days with movies. So it's,
Right. Very well said. I agree with you, Lynn. I think I would recommend this to kind of an older crowd because I appreciated it for the love story that was in it, but I feel like young kids wouldn't want to sit through it. There wasn't a lot of the elements, like you said, of the snowmen, the elves, the Santa. So I don't know that it would particularly hold the kids' interest, kids these days. But I followed the love story in it, so I liked it for that part. But I'm a sucker for a good love story. So maybe, I don't know, 20 or older.
Yeah.
For me.
Same here. 20 or older, unless the kid's really into film and wants to see how they were made back then, or they're curious in the lingo and just the lifestyle back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, if there are any secret shoppers left in the world, they should see it. Get a lot of tips here.
Absolutely.
I think maybe AI replaced that job first.
Probably.
Or the internet did.
Internet, yep.
But
Actually-
clearly for older folks.
And actors too, because when she was a shopper, she wasn't very effective in her shopping. You know, she just said, I want this size, I want this now. Instead of like courting the salesperson and saying, oh, well, what about this? Or what, so I think that would be another market to tap.
There you go.
I would challenge you guys a little bit, though, on the age of it, just because I think it did represent such simpler times. And, you know, I can see a kid saying, oh, this is boring. Well, that's kind of the point.
Sit down and watch it.
You're right. So you think you should force them to watch it? Like,
Yeah.
Well,
sit down and be quiet, and you're going to watch it.
Appreciate, yeah. And, you know, that's true. But even with the gift itself, too. I know that the money translates a little higher, but he got one gift.
Right.
He didn't have a
Exactly.
whole, he got slippers, too.
Yeah.
Still.
And it wasn't that Amazon delivered it that morning.
That was funny, yeah. And don't forget the slippers.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so funny. We got
Because
the
every
slippers,
8-year-old
too.
kid loves slippers.
They want slippers. That's right. Okay, well, Carolyn, big question. What is your favorite holiday film?
It also involves romance.
I love romance.
Yes, Love Actually. Yeah.
Good one.
Wonderful.
That's your favorite, huh?
You're not the first love, actually. It's coming up in the countdown, I promise.
Stay tuned.
Will be coming up.
Oh, there you go.
And you, Lynn, do you have a favorite?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I have a go-to every season, I guess the last 5 years or so, and that's Elf. I'm just really endeared by it, and I've participated in a lot of events with it. But yeah, I like Elf, and honestly, I'm gonna throw it out there. Die Hard is not bad, and I think it's a Christmas movie.
There you go. State
There's no
your
debate
ground.
here.
All right, okay, good. I'm glad I'm in a room.
Yes.
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 That was solved a long time
Okay,
ago
good.
in this room.
I have been in some mixed company lately.
Not here. Not here.
Yeah, and by the way, Elf is another department store film.
Yes,
Oh,
it is.
good
You're
point.
right. And Gimbal, yeah.
Good point.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Carolyn, is there anything you would like to promote?
I would love to promote the spirit of the holidays and Christmas and that anything is possible.
Love it.
Wow, Lynn. Okay.
Gosh, with that,
Follow that.
Lynn, follow that.
and I'm going to take the sleigh ride down. And I will say, too, just, be kind to one another and acknowledge that people are people and we all are here together. And we, just should honestly just get along and accept that people are people, and we need to love one another.
Yeah. We're all going through something,
Yes.
right? All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us with this discussion on our 43rd ranked our 43rd ranked film, Holiday Affair. Please follow, like, and comment on this podcast.
Yes, please share and spread the word about Holiday Film Countdown. Thank you, Carolyn and Lynn, for joining us. And thanks to all our listeners. Next week, we're moving on to our 42nd ranked holiday film,
Which will take us to New England.